Hello everyone, I welcome back all of you for the CTET online training program. And today's topic is that water, and this belongs to CTET paper 1 and EVS theme 3. Okay, so regarding this topic we are going to discuss about the following subtopics and concepts. So the subtopics and concepts are listed like this, that is sources of water, okay, then water cycle, conservation of water, pedagogy, how water concept and topic should be taught, then process skills through water and what process skills will be taught to the students, then purification of water. So it is basically the content part of water and regarding sources, conservation, water pollution and all that. Along with that, how pedagogy should be for teaching water, and also what are the basic process skills that students of that age, at primary level will be learning, what kind of basic skills that they will be learning related to process skills. Okay, so let us move forward to the topic, and before moving forward, let me introduce myself. My name is K. Madhu. I am from RI Mysore and NCRT. So how this session is going to be, so let us see what are we going to do in this session and how we are going to deal with the concept of water and with respect to the structure of this session. So first we will be discussing about the questions, the previous year questions which were asked, related to this topic of water. We'll also be discussing the answers and the content part of it. Okay, the answers and the discussion will also be done on the content related to the question that was discussed. Then we'll move forward to the most common concepts. Okay, the concepts under water on which the CTET focused before and they might focus after, in future. So regarding the most common concepts, we will be focusing on different concepts in the, for the next 45 minutes. So we have to be very, careful and focus on those concepts more than, the others. Then we'll have a quick recap at the end. So this is how our session is going to be. Let us move forward. And before we dive into the question, the previous year questions discussion and the content discussion part, let us understand what kind of questions and from which concepts of the topic are covered in previous year questions, on which topic CTET is focusing more, and what kind of questions they are asking in this topic. So basically, among all the topics that are there in the water topic, so the majorly the questions are coming from the concepts like pollution, that is water pollution, and the purification of water. Okay, so this is the trend analysis from 2014 to 2024, previous year questions. It's okay, previous years. Then the sources of water and the key facts related to water. It can be the chemical nature of, the key facts related to the nature of water, the properties of water, the sources of water and all. Then they also asked about the conservation practices that were existing before, what are the modern conservation, techniques and practices, the way the technology is also used with respect to the conversation and with respect to pollution also. Then water cycle. So what is water cycle and how water keeps moving in a cyclic form, in different forms, in its different forms, and properties of water. Then pedagogy and process skills, while how a pedagogy and how pedagogy should be and what kind of methods and strategies should be used at this EVS for this EVS concept, topic of water. So let us move forward now we will start discussing about the previous year questions. We'll see various previous year questions from different years, and we'll discuss their answers and the related content part based on these questions that we are discussing. So let us move to the first question. So I hope all of you can see the question here. So the question is, which of the following is the main source of fresh water on earth? So we have to understand, and we have to be very, we have to be concentrating on the main keywords of the question. Always go for the keywords of the question. So the keywords here are main source of fresh water. So they are asking among the given options, which are the Which ones are the main sources of fresh water they're asking. So the option one is glaciers. So is it the glaciers? Is it the river water? Is it the ponds and tanks? Is it the groundwater? So which one is the major source or main source of fresh water? Okay, so the answer is glaciers, definitely. So the glaciers, they have 72% of all the fresh water. Like consider the globe, in the world, 100% of fresh water. Out of 100% of fresh water, 72% of the fresh water is present in glaciers only. The rest of it is in different freshwater rivers, ponds and all that. Okay, that is very minimal, but majorly 72% is in glaciers. Okay, these are the largest source of fresh water. So when you see the keywords here, when you track this thing, so whenever they ask major source or major reservoir of fresh water, okay, so when they ask you anything related to the major sources or major reservoirs related to the fresh water, it is definitely the glaciers only, which consists of 72% of the pure water. Okay, fresh water. So you should just anchor the concepts to the keywords like major reservoir and major sources of fresh water to glaciers only. So if they ask about most accessible water among the given options, which is the most accessible water for the human beings, if question is asked something like this, then it is rivers and lakes and groundwater. So if the major reservoir or source of fresh water is glaciers always, but is it accessed? No, it is not accessed by all of us. Not 99% of the population can't access this glaciers water. Okay, water that is present in the glaciers. So what is accessible is for all the human beings in common, there are rivers, there are lakes and groundwater. So don't forget, main reservoir and main sources of fresh water is glaciers, whereas most accessible access, you should always go behind the terms access, sources. There is a difference between source and also access. Access is when we have availability, where we can actually go and depend on for water. Okay, so rivers, lakes and groundwater. So this is what is the question. So the right answer is glaciers. So based on this question, let us know few more details about the sources of water. What are the other sources that are there, and what types of sources are there? Okay. So when we see here, so natural sources, there are natural sources, man-made sources of water. Okay, again, how much is the fresh water and how much is the salt water, which is not drinkable, which is not potable by the living organisms. So if you see the natural resources, so the natural sources of water, so it is rain, rivers, lakes, ponds, seas. So all these come under the sources of water from which we will be getting water for all our uses. So these are the natural resources. Means what are natural resources? What is common among all these? These are naturally formed resources. So there is no involvement of human beings, or there is no involvement of any living organisms. Nobody is doing anything. They are naturally formed. They are naturally present in the environment. They are naturally present on Earth. So that's why they are called as natural sources. What about man-made? Are there any man-made sources of water? Yes, there are sources, because we human beings, for our needs, we also create artificially the sources of water. They are called as the wells, tube wells, dams, canals, reservoirs, tanks. So whatever we build for our own sake, for the purpose of water, they come under man-made sources. Not only water, anything that is man-built, it is man-made only. And fresh water. So how much is the fresh water and how much is the salt water? So fresh water is only 3% among whatever the amount of water that is present on Earth. In that only 3% is potable. That means 3% only we can it is consumable by living organisms. Rest 97% is not consumable. We cannot drink that water because it is salt water. Where it is present in seas. So seas, the oceans has larger amount of water that consists of 97% of water, but so it is not, it will not be used for drinking purpose. Okay, so only 3% which is present in rivers, lakes, glaciers and groundwater is only available for our drinking purposes. The rest is present in oceans, which is salty in taste and which is not good for drinking purpose. So these are few facts that you should remember for CTET preparation related to the sources of water. So there are two types of sources: natural sources and man-made sources. Then fresh water, two types of water: fresh water and salt water. Okay, so fresh water is something that we can drink, salt water is something that we cannot drink, and the percentage of that is present. So these are the details regarding sources of water that you need to have for answering the questions related to the sources of water. So the key points are also given here: 97% and 3% of the fresh water. So yes, so we'll move forward to the next question. So the next previous year question is: water in an earth pot, that is matka, remains cool due to. Okay, I'll repeat once again: water in an earthen pot remains cool due to. The meaning of this question is, in a pot, okay, in earthen pot, like the sand pot that we will have in our homes or nearby. Okay, so in water in those pots will remain cool. It is due to what? That's what is the question is about. So is it due to condensation? Is it due to evaporation? Is it due to sedimentation? Is it due to sublimation? So when water is kept inside the many of the times we use water. Especially in summers, we try to store our water in the pots. It is because water will become water will be cooler. They stay cool inside the pot. Why is it? What is the reason behind water staying cool in earthen pots? Okay, so this is the question. The answer is, it is due to evaporation. So you might think, how does evaporation takes place from pot? It takes place because when we know that earthen pot has tiny pores. Okay, it has tiny pores through which water moves, and because of heat it evaporates. Okay, so water, when it moves through this tiny pores and gets evaporated, this also takes the heat from the water. So heat is going out in the form of evaporation, and heat is water is going out, and heat is also going along with the water. So that's how the rest of the water that is stay inside the pot will stay cool. Okay, the heat is going and earthen pot stays cool. So the cooling happens when water leaves a surface. So with respect to the cooling nature and the properties and states of water, so what is happening here when we talk about states of water? There are majorly there are three states of water, and there are properties too. So when water is moving from the pot to outside through tiny pores, it is becoming evaporated. So it is converting from liquid state to gaseous state. Okay, it is getting evaporated. So based on states of water, let us know some content, okay, the related content, so that we can also solve the other questions related to the properties of water and also states of water. So with respect to properties of water, what are the properties of water? All of us know they are colorless, they are odorless. Colorless means they are transparent, they don't have any color. Okay, that is one property. They are odorless. What do we mean by odorless? Water doesn't have any smell. Odor means, remember, it is smell. Okay, water doesn't have any smell. They are tasteless also, and they are transparent in nature. You can see through water. Okay, wherever you see, you can see through water if the water is not contaminated with anything. Okay, so these are the properties. These are the properties of water: colorless, odorless, tasteless, and also the questions will be asked which among the following is a property of water, or which among the following is not the property of water. Something like this question can be asked. So you have to remember these key terms like colorless, odorless, tasteless, and transparent. Okay, along with that, you should also remember that should also it is universal solvent. Okay, one more characteristic, one more property that you should remember is universal solvent. It dissolves anything that is like almost more, like it dissolves most of the things inside it, right? So, then other chemical properties we'll discuss now. So first let us talk about, we talked about the properties, then see the states, states of water. That is, there are 3 states: solid state, liquid state, and gaseous state. So when water stays in solid state, when water stays in liquid state, and how it converts into gaseous form, we have a clear idea. Okay, when water is boiled, the surface level at surface level, water gets converted into liquid, gaseous state, then solid to liquid to solid, and we'll see that also in the later slides, how this conversion happens and when this conversion happens. When it is, the chemical formula is H2O, it is called as H2O. It dissolves most of the substances than any other liquid. That is why it is called as universal solvent. Why it is called as universal solvent is it dissolves most of the substances than any other liquid. Okay, that is present on here. Okay, it has no fixed shape. It takes the shape of the vessel that that is present. Okay, that it is present in. The maximum temperature is 4 degrees, boils at 100 degrees Celsius. It freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. These are the basic facts and other properties that we should be knowing, before going for CTET, and then only we'll be able to, answer the questions related to properties and states of water. These are the few majorly touched upon concepts, properties and states of water. So let us move forward, okay, to the next question, next previous year question. The next question is, the main cause of rainfall is, okay, the main cause of rainfall. They are asking about the cause of rainfall. Cause means what, how does, how rain comes from, what is the reason for rain? That is what they are asking. So is it filtration? Is it evaporation only? Is it condensation only, or is it both evaporation and condensation? So which is the answer? So what is the cause for this rain? It is both evaporation and condensation. Okay, evaporation lifts the water, due to evaporation water gets converted into gaseous state, and through condensation again it forms clouds, and again precipitation happens. We'll discuss the water cycle and we'll understand how rain will be coming, and what is the cause of rain. Okay, we go back. So rain needs vapor. So whenever you see terms like only, like most of the times these are the traps that CTET tries on us. Whenever they ask only, so it is to convince you. It is to naturally convince you that this must be the answer, and please don't fall for those kind of tricks. So mostly they're asking only most of the time. Sometimes they'll give a right answer also, but mostly only means that would be wrong answer only. Of possibility for wrong answer only than right answer. So it is both evaporation and condensation. Yeah. So with respect to this question, how rain comes, what happens during the raining process, and how formation of clouds takes place and all, we should understand water cycle. And there are a lot of questions previously asked related to this concept, that is water cycle. So what happens in water cycle? Just quickly revise. We all know what happens in water cycle because all of you are already in the system and teaching. So the major concepts and major steps that are there in the water cycle is evaporation, okay, transpiration, then condensation, precipitation, and collection at the rivers. So during evaporation, what happens? So due to sun, water gets heated up and it converts into vapor. and it, it moves. Water moves from ground, okay, wherever, whatever the source in, in which it is there, it will move up, converted, getting converted into vapor. Then transpiration. So transpiration also same, from surface it enters atmosphere in a vapor form, but from there, in evaporation, it is from the water bodies. In transpiration, it is from the plants. Remember this difference. Don't get confused. If it is evaporation, it is from the water bodies. If it is transpiration, it is from the plants. So plants release water vapor via leaves. We all know that plants also, plants take water, collect water for their photosynthesis and for preparation of food. So the water that is present in the plants, they also leave the plants in a vapor form during hot weather. So this process is called as transpiration. Plants losing water in a vapor form through the tiny pores that are present in the leaves. This is called as transpiration, whereas from water bodies, if water is leaving, that is evaporation. Then once the vapors are cooled, these water vapor through the process of condensation, clouds will be formed. So this water vapor on the atmosphere, when it gets cooled, this process condensation through which the clouds will be formed. Then after that, through precipitation is where the accumulation of larger molecules of water, and they just start coming down from the atmosphere to the Earth's surface. This is precipitation. Okay, so when rain comes, it is collected in the water bodies. It just moves to the water bodies, or it just stays wherever it falls. Okay, so it is getting collected in the Earth's surface. So these are the few steps that takes place, in a cyclic manner in the water cycle, and this is how water circulates throughout these steps. Okay, so this is how water is maintained, and water is the stable amount of water is maintained on Earth. So the key points here are transpiration. Don't forget the difference between transpiration and evaporation. It is in plants, it is in water bodies. So together, but what about transpiration and evaporation together? What is it called as? It is called as evapotranspiration, because evaporation is happening through transpiration. Okay, evaporation through transpiration. I'm sorry. Okay, in plants it is. Yeah, so this is evapotranspiration. Okay, so this is what is about water cycle. So these are the concepts that we should remember, and we should remember the meanings of them. So questions can be asked in any way, like which among the following is not the step, not related to the water cycle, or what happens during condensation. So condensation, the meaning of condensation is falling, the options can be for, rain coming down, or collection of water on the edge surface, or water getting converted into vapor from liquid state. So anything, okay, questions can be asked in such a way. So previous years also the questions were there like this in the related to this topic. Let us move to next previous year question. Okay, so experiments with water develop process skills. Which one is not a process skill? Okay, the question is experiments with water develop process skills. Which one is not a process skill? So the meaning of this question is, while doing experiments with the water, students will be able to develop few basic process skills. So what will be those skills? And among these skills, they are asking which one is not the process skills. So is it the retrieving facts? Is it analyzing? Is it drawing conclusions? Is it discussion? So which one is not the process skill among here? So which one? So what is the key word here that we need to identify in the question? It is experiments. Okay, experiments and process skills. So while performing experiment, what process skills will be developed? And in the previous classes, we discussed about the process skills in science, the basic process skills and also the integrated process skills. Okay, which one? And we discussed just rote memorization, just remembering things, retrieving from our memory is not at all a base, it is not a process skill. Okay, it is just a mere memorization of something. So definitely the answer is retrieving facts is definitely not a basic process skill. Okay, so no matter which experiment we do, no matter which situation it is, no matter which activity we will be doing, if at all the options include retrieving facts, definitely that is not that is the option that you need to choose with respect to which is not the process skill. So memorizing is not process skill. Process skill is something related to doing. It is a skill. Okay, process skill it is. So it is thinking and also doing. Okay, discussion is also a skill. Analyzing and drawing conclusions is also a process skill that we already discussed in this science pedagogy classes from paper 2. So with respect to process skills, let us discuss the related content. So what are the process skills? Let us revise. We already discussed in the previous science pedagogy classes from paper 2, but let us also just quickly go through observation, classification, measurement. All these come inference, prediction, recording, analysis. So all these are basic process skills. Okay, these are the basic process skills. What are not? Which are not the basic skills, because when we see, if we see this question, we're asking which is not. So sometimes questions are also asked like this indirectly. So which are not the basic process skills also we need to understand. So retrieving or recalling facts from a memory, no, they are not memory. So memorizing just definitions, just reproducing any definition, any fact or any principle is not any basic process skill. So process skills are, these are the process skills. So all of you remember, can be asked which among the following is a process skill or which among them is not the process skill. Questions can be asked like this. So let us move forward to the next previous year question. That is, so let me read the question. Anjali organizes a role play on water sources and ways to conserve water. This activity is primarily aimed at. Okay, let me repeat once again. So let us focus on the keywords in the question. So what is Anjali organizes a role play? Okay, so it's about a teaching method. The keyword is about teaching method, role play on water sources and ways to conserve the water. Okay, this activity primarily aimed at, they are asked, so they are talking about a teaching method. No matter, so the main keyword here is role play, so it doesn't matter which topic they are going to teach. Okay, the aim, so the main focus is now on a teaching method that they are focusing now. So they are asking what is the aim of this teaching method, that is role play. So is it improving social skills of the students? Is it breaking monotony in learning? Is it ensuring active participation of the students? And is it enhancing knowledge of water sources? So though it is about conservation of water and sources of water, the major focus is on the aim of the activity that is being conducted, the aim of the activity being performed. Okay, so we discussed this concept in the previous science pedagogy session. So what we did, we discussed that any activity, any experiential learning, anywhere students are actively involved using all their body parts, where their active involvement is more, that means it is for active participation. So definitely the answer will be ensuring active participation. So whenever you see questions which has keywords like role play or activity based or discussion, group work, and if they ask the aim of this, the purpose behind it, it will be mostly for active participation only. Okay, it is for the active participation. So this is what it is. So we had discussed about the aims of and the methodology, how the science methodology should be, and the aims behind it. So related to that, NCF National Curriculum Framework 2005, which recommends, which gives suggestions on how pedagogy should be, even for school also, for for lower levels. It also talks about the pedagogy of the EVS. So what does it says? Because the question here is about the teaching method. So according to NCF 2005, how pedagogy for EVS should be. Okay, so it should be local to global. Okay, so Local, what do you mean by local to global? So whatever the examples, whatever you teach should be directly related to the local surroundings, okay, the immediate surroundings of the child first. Then you can move from local context to global context. For example, if you are talking about nutrition, if you're talking about the food items which are important for muscle building, for good health and all, so the examples that you take from the food, okay, the example should come from the immediate local environment of the child. Then you can move forward to other places beyond locality. You can go, that is global. So should always go from local to global, because that is when you talk things from local perspective, then only it makes more meaning for the child. Then you can go beyond explaining the other aspects of it. So go for use village first. Village means it can be the village or city or whatever it is, whatever the locality. Then go towards world. Okay, hands-on experiments, field trips. So anything that makes them active learners, active participants. So that should be used. Hands-on experiments, activities, playful activities. All that should be. So stories, real context, no rigid definitions. So all these key terms you have to remember, and whenever these keywords, if you see in the questions, so it is basically for active involvement of the students, active participation of the students, and for better understanding. So remember that. So strategies that work, so role plays, surveys at home, the real life, where they involve and do things in their life and understand. Then drawing, labeling, water cycle, project water heroes, involve community, they're going and interacting with the community. Anything that they do in groups, anything that they do involving all their senses in the groups with discussions, by activities, is something that they need for learning EVS, any concept, no matter what it is. So the keyword was role play, and it was about teaching method, and the aim was discussed. So it is for yes, sorry. Just a minute, just some technical glitch. Yes. So we'll move forward to the next previous year question. The question is, which of the following is not a step of water purification at home? Okay, which of the following is not a step of water purification at home? The keyword is water purification, which is not a water purification at home, they are asking. Okay, so is it at home means something that the purification process or purification practices that happens at the home. So which of the following is not the practice that is followed at home with respect to purification of water? Is it boiling? Is it adding alum? Okay, allowing mud to settle? Is it adding fertilizers to water? So which one of it is not the step of purification that are calling? So when we look at the options itself, it is one odd note is really seen here, adding fertilizers to water, and we know that pollution is caused by one of the reason for pollution is fertilizers in agriculture. Okay, the right answer is adding fertilizers to the water is not the purification process. It's not only at home, it is anywhere. Adding fertilizers to the water is not all a purification process. Okay, so yes. So with respect to this is related to the concept of pollution, diseases, purification and all. So with respect to this, let us discuss a content related to this question, so that we can solve other questions. So regarding purification methods, it is alum, boiling, chlorine. Many of the places chlorine is used to kill the germs and to give little filtered water for the people living there. Then pollution and diseases. So there are different reasons, different causes of pollution. Here they are talking about water pollution only. Okay, we are not talking about any other pollution. We are talking about water pollution. So sewage is one reason. Industrial effluents, fertilizers, pesticides, and there are other reasons also. Okay, I'm writing here. Biomedical waste, the waste that comes from hospitals and medical centers. So including all these are the causes. Okay, all these are causes. And what after after pollution, the water becomes contaminated and it leads to the diseases like cholera, typhoid, jaundice. So the questions will be asked like, which among the following is waterborne diseases, or which among the following diseases is caused by contaminated water. So you should remember few of these diseases. They are cholera, typhoid, jaundice and all. So stagnant water really causes dengue and malaria, because in stagnant water malaria and dengue are caused, they are caused from mosquito, but the causative organism is again different. So what carries is the mosquito. So in stagnant water mosquito breeds, they lay eggs and they breeds. So if there is a stagnant water nearby, definitely there is a lot of possibility of mosquito breeding, and which results in diseases like dengue and malaria. So these are the few facts and concepts that we should remember with respect to pollution, diseases and purification of water. So yes, let us move forward. So these are the few questions that we discussed till now with respect to water. So again, like previous session, we discussed about travel, like the same like travel. This topic water also got 3 to 4 marks. This also covers 3 to 4 marks in CTET examination. Like in EVS we have 30 for 30 marks, and again content 15 marks. So in that content, the water theme will be covering some 2 to 3 marks. So we discussed the content now. So let us quickly revise whatever we discussed. Okay, till now. So we discussed about the sources of fresh water and the percentage of water that is drinkable and which is not drinkable. So 97% is salty, which we cannot drink, and 3% is fresh, which can be consumed. Okay, and 97% is present in the oceans and seas, and 3% is present in rivers, lakes and ponds. Then we also discussed about water cycle. So what are the different steps? We also discussed evaporation, condensation, precipitation and collection, and we also discussed about transpiration, okay, which happens through plants. From plants water is getting evaporated, right? So earthen pots cooling process, by evaporation, okay, heat leaves through vapor. That's how water stays cool. So these are repeated questions. Why we are discussing these concepts here, especially in this slide, is these are most repeated ones. These are most repeated concepts and repeated questions. Okay, these were asked repeatedly in the previous year questions. Then they also asked about process skills. Okay, process skill is something doing and also thinking. So, and in this context, remember always that retrieving facts, memorizing anything, just memorizing and retrieving, remembering is not at all a base, process skill. Okay, so this is about Jal Parush, how different people, in the past came up with, innovative ideas to conserve water. So that we couldn't get any, we didn't discuss any question regarding that. But please see the best water practices that were there and that are there now. Okay, questions will come on that also. So while teaching EVS, while teaching water, how a teaching methodology should be, how the pedagogy should be, it should always be at that level. It should be from local to global. First we should address from local perspective, local context, then we should move to the global context. And how it should be activity based and real context, not just lecture method where students doesn't have much scope for active engagement and active participation. So these are the commonly touched concepts and facts. So yeah, these are the facts given here, most tested facts from the previous year questions. So what is the main reservoir? Okay, that is glaciers. Earthen part cooling, that is because of evaporation. Repeatedly touched upon concepts and repeatedly touched upon questions. Okay, main cause for rainfall, evaporation and condensation. Okay, so we anyway discussed all these things. So I hope everybody, all of you are clear about what concepts CTET is focusing more with respect to this topic. The topics okay, so the topics they are listed here. So even after this session, when you are preparing later, so please focus on these sub concepts which are really important: pollution, that is water pollution, purification, sources, then key facts, properties of water, the conservation methods, water cycle and all. So I hope it is clear for all of you, and let us conclude this session now regarding water and its importance for CTET preparation, and where CTET is focusing more on which concepts and for how many marks. So we'll conclude now. We'll conclude this session. Thank you so much.